it was like a mass exodus. I came back in and I had Tom Buller and a guy named Wolford, and that was it. And it was me. And, you know, some of the platoon sergeants were leaving, you know, their platoon sergeant time was up. So I come rolling in and I'm like, oh, look, we got no officers. And I'm like, yes. And nothing against my fellow officers. I love platoon sergeants. And I'm like, because you don't have to train them. Hey, and I came in and I said, what's wrong? How do we need to fix it? And you get the answer from them. So after the change of command, you know, I talked to the officers, talked to the platoon sergeants, talked to the officers and the platoon sergeants together, and I went down to the enlisted guys. And I rolled in, and they're all standing there. I'm like, let's go find someplace comfortable. So they're grabbing chairs in this bay and everything, and I sit down and I pull up my can of Copenhagen, and I put this big fat dip in, and they're kind of looking. I'm like, yeah, I'm not your typical company commander. And I gave them a little bit of the background. I said, what's screwed up? And how can we fix it? I said, I don't want to hear anything. You don't like your team leader, blah, 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 because you have personality. I said, I don't care about personality clashes. And then I showed them how I want to rearrange the company, not the Pathfinder teams, but I wanted 3 platoons with X amount of squads with machine guns attached, you know, independent operation stuff, decentralized. So we kind of went forward in it. We had a rigorous training schedule, and we started getting new lieutenants in. And then, you know, we're getting, as they say in the office, we're getting a team solidified. And then we ended up moving to the other side of post. And, you know, we went from there. And then I was doing some soul searching one day, and I'm like, what are we deficient at? We're deficient at reconnaissance and surveillance. So luckily, a lot of the platoon sergeants were either from JROTC or they were ranger instructors. So I wanted to incorporate this LRRA stuff in, and long-range HF comms. We were sending teams or platoons to NTC. They'd shoot comms back to Campbell, you know, just to keep that skill set. So, you know, it's part of the Pathfinder, you know, back then, since they're gone now, doctrinal stuff is, you know, you're looking for LZs, DZs, all that other stuff. So we didn't do any Hollywood jumps. It was all combat. One jump was Hollywood, then rest was combat equipment. Spent a lot of time on the ranges and stuff, but it was like I was like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Let me know when you're done. And I would let the platoons and the platoon sergeants train their platoons, and I would just kind of follow along until we got to the live fire ranges, because, you know, the company commanders got to evaluate teams and blah, blah, blah. But my philosophy was, if the lieutenant and the platoon sergeant are out there with these fire teams, these squads in combat, and they're trusted with this, why can't they evaluate them? So I would let the PLs and the platoon sergeants, I always go along for the walk because I wanted the steps. So I would let them evaluate, and I'd be like, okay, this makes sense, blah, 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 you know, and then I would go out and do the squads, you know, and I'd let, you know, Tom Buller, XO, we ended up getting to keep him. Somehow we finagled the deal, put off his captain's career course until he got back from deployment, and I don't know how I did it. And then we had another guy come in. He was a Pathfinder instructor named Jimenez. I'm like, I'll take him too. And we got him delayed from PCS. It was crazy. So I was, you know, but I didn't want to take anybody from the other Pathfinder company that they were homesteading, you know, when it's time to move on and, you know, see the Army from a different perspective. So it was a motley crew. You know, I had phenomenal kids, and I call them kids because I was probably 25 years older than all of them. Just phenomenal kids, from the lowest private on all the way up to, you know, Tom Buller. Good first sergeant, great first sergeant. Administrative-wise, I did the tactical stuff. He did the paperwork, and I loved it. I focused on the tactical stuff, and we got along great.